What it do, YouTube? Thanks for checking out this video. You may be having the same kind of challenges like me. Code 2BEA28A0P112F. There's a list of codes. So I'm going to try to break this segment on my chip shortage budget car into different segments. So again, this is my 2011 BMW X5, also known as E70, and it has the N55 engine in it. One of the first issues I noticed with this car before I purchased it, started up, oil starts leaking from the rear passenger side of the engine and starts leaking oil right onto the catalytic converter. It starts smoking and it's probably going to catch fire. Previous owner says he really doesn't know much about it. I don't know how long it's been like this. So this is what I get. Buy these cars for cheap, try to fix them up. I'm the next stupid person who buys them and, again, tries to fix them up. But I'm going to start getting into this with first doing the valve cover. Trying to tackle this code 2BEA. It looks like it's a mixture control 2 lean. There was another code 2BC0, which is mixture control 2 lean as well, big deviation. So I think they have 1 and 2 in the same. So you can't just change the valve cover gasket. Well, you can if it's just leaking, but because I have these codes, you got to just change the whole valve cover. So that's going to be one of the first things I do. Also, since I have the valve cover off, I'm going to change out the ignition coils. Don't know if they've ever been done, and also the spark plugs, because I have random misfires. I have 3 misfire codes, and also I have a P112F. Don't know if that has anything to do with it, but that's showing as a permanent code, and this is just using my blue driver. I also have a fancy launch bidirectional scanner. I don't know why some of my scanners show codes that my other ones don't. I don't know, but thanks for checking this video out. I'm going to dive in this valve cover. Hooray for parts! This is courtesy from our friends at ECS Tuning. So I had pulled these codes before I purchased the vehicle, did some research, called some BMW independents, also dealership, got anything from, hey, your codes could be valve cover, it could be mass airflow map sensor, or you need a new engine. Like literally I heard it all. You can see I have a valve cover that came in. So this is the Hamburg Tech. I don't know too much about them, but they highly recommended it. So we got the Hamburg Tech in here. So I have 6 ignition coils I'm going to be changing and working with, so change out those. Other things for the valve cover, you get this little kit here. Oh, you also see I have some spark plugs. But inside this part of their kit, there's certain things that you don't want to reuse, like 2 self-tapping screws. I'll find out where those go. Some more screws. These ones look a little bit more unique with the black head there. And there is some kind of flange that I think is where the 2 self-tapping screws go, or something like that. And then I have 6 Bosch spark plugs. So I'm gonna change out the spark plugs while I'm there because I do have a engine misfire. Yeah, this looks like a terrible job. Like I have to take out these lines and a bunch of injectors you really can't see, breather hose. Like this is like a huge undertaking. So again, I'm going to try to document this, but there's so many other people that have better documentations using GoPros and things like that. One thing to point out, which I should have done when I bought this car, so of course you don't smell vision, but when I open up this crankcase cap and I smell it, I smell gas. So if you're doing a pre-purchase, look at one of those. Now I guess it's not too bad that you can smell gas, but I think that this valve cover has seen better days. Another good thing to do before we start tearing this thing apart, because I have to get access to this front cowl on the passenger side. Since I'm going to be there, I am going to change out my Cabernet filters because this car absolutely reeks so bad. So from what I've seen, when you remove this piece here, there's going to be the Cabernet filter. So MAN is usually the OEM, so it even says BMW in here, but they can't advertise it. These are the 2 MAN filters for the Cabernet filters. So I'm going to go ahead and replace those while I'm at it. So you should probably do that as well. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is remove this, because I see other people try to remove the valve cover, it doesn't come out. So I'm going to start just by removing this. I'm just using a 13mm standard socket, and I think you just turn these things 1/4 of a turn. Yep. So it's like a 1/4 turn, and you actually hear them unsnap. Do this one up here. There's one right here. There's one right here. think that's it. And then I'm gonna take off this gasket, this little rubber grommet, because I want to split. I'm gonna split it in half right here. Oh, it looks like I also have another thing that needs to come off there, but I'm gonna go ahead and take this cover off. This is always fun. And it just works its way out. And then there we go. Got that out. Coming back here with an extension. And it's barely fits, so I'm gonna give this one a quarter turn as well. Yep, so just quarter turn. Actually, one more over here in this corner. Again, 13 mil. And this thing should come out. There is one harness right here, so I'm going to go ahead and disconnect this. Go ahead and disconnect that. Okay, that one should be loose and come out. Yeah, this thing is fit. And ta-da! This is the, you can see here, cabin air filters. Oh god, those are gross. So to change these cabin air filters, if you can see here, there's a tab here, and then there's tabs down here. So I believe I just sit here and squeeze, and you're getting a bonus video today. How to change out cabin air filters. God, I can't even talk. Things up because they can only go one way, and just gonna go ahead and snap that one in place, and then we'll see right here that one just gets snapped right in place, so you can see that it's right there, and the other one's here. So this is a pretty simple task to do so far, so don't go to the dealership to get this done. These were about, I don't know, I think these were $28 for the main brands. You can buy other brands. They got this off of Amazon. But yeah, this one was, I always try to go with OEM brand stuff. Okay, they are snapped. The next thing I want to do is finish taking off the rest of this cowl. I'm only going to take it over to about the middle. So I believe this is a T25. Some people will say T20, but it fits with a T25. I'm going to kind of cheat here. So I'm going to go ahead and take these out. There's this one, there's this one, there's one back here. So there's three right here, there's one right here, and then it looks like this one's like some kind of nut. So I'm going to take this out. 1, 2, and 3. So this is what they look like. So 2 small ones, 1 bigger one. The bigger one goes in the back, but they're both T25s. And I'm going to go ahead and take this one off as well. So there's that. And then this just comes off. Looks like there's a plastic clip over here I need to remove, but go ahead and got that out. And then it looks like this one needs a little more work to get off. Now I'm doing this by myself, so I went and switched to a 10mm. There's one right here. So this one right here, so that's a 10mm. And then there is a plastic clip that's right here. So I removed the one 25mm here. I'm gonna go ahead and try to remove this plastic clip here. Then I went ahead and just pulled this, so autofocus in. So this was on the back side of here, so you can see that this is where the screw went into, but on the other side there is a plastic rivet. So I'm just going to go ahead and put this back in here so I know how it goes. Ta-da! Another 10mm, so that was in the back here. Yep, so that was all that was needed. Cowl out of the way. Yep, so there we go. So I'll kind of recap. This goes in like this. This was a 10mm. This one right back here was a 10mm. And then the rest here were the T25s. And there's the T25s back there. So yeah, so that's it. And do this after you like remove all these bolts, and we know it goes to this piece here that I just removed. Go ahead and put them in a Ziploc bag, and go ahead and then put a Ziploc bag, and then we're going to put them together like this, and just go ahead and put some tape over. So this is using a T20, taking out this air box here. So there's a total of 6 screws that are utilizing the T20, so I already took them off. They actually just stick on. So I want to start taking off this air cleaner, I guess. So unscrew this here, and then just kind of move it out. So just go ahead and move out the top of the air intake, and go ahead and remove the air filter. Okay, so next I'm going to go ahead and remove this piece, part of the intake. Just use a screwdriver. Just get this out somehow. And then I think this just twists out. So once this is removed right here, this piece, I've been trying to screw around with this to try to get it unhinged. All I did was just lift up this whole air box, and the whole thing just comes off. So this is just one piece that comes off. So we'll go with that. Okay, so after you take out your air box over there, I still need to take out, I think, the mass airflow sensor clip, but then we have a few remaining items over here to deal with off this intake pipe. So one of the first things is getting this off. So you'll see here, this just has some clips, right? So this is just a squeeze. You squeeze from right here, and then that pulls off. And then this one here has 2 clips down, one here and one here, the same concept where you're gonna squeeze. Just gonna go down there and squeeze it. And looks like someone may have been in this one already. So, but yeah, so that just came out of there. There's still, we gotta take the flex tube off of here. So this one's gonna be a fun challenge, just getting some picks. If this thing breaks, I really don't care, because I do have a new one. These things are supposed to break. So, and then we got to take off this sensor here. All right, so we're going to try the toothpick trick to get this breather hose out. So I have my father here. So you just, if you can see, put all these different toothpicks on here, and kind of squeeze. You can see how much flexibility there is there. When you buy this, get this kit, it comes with the extra, I don't know what we call this hose, the flex hose. It's probably a better idea to put a catch can in this thing versus dealing with these hoses, since this is a direct injection engine. And this doesn't sound too pretty.
Time for somebody, because it's a, you don't have 4 fingers, just use toothpicks, and they just open them up so you can release it all.
Yeah, so I think we're just going to leave it like that for now, and then we're going to take it off with the exhaust, the intake pipe right here. So we'll just leave it on there for now.
First, I'm going to go ahead and take this one out.
Oh yeah, go ahead and remove.
I don't know if I can squeezing it in there, but just squeeze the sides, pull it out.
There we go. So, showing you there, we were doing it wrong. There are side pieces here. So don't stick something through this hole up top. It's just squeeze from the side. So I think the rest is fine. We're just going to leave it alone, and we're going to take it out with when we take out this this pipe. Okay. So once we found out we broke this piece, undone, did this. There's the 13 millimeter there. I still have the mass airflow sensor connected in the back. It's such a pain in the butt. And then down here, you will notice that we have this coupler, so this is part of the intake pipe right here, so you got to loosen this up. So we went and loosened it up, so go ahead and try to take it out now. But be very careful, because we still have this going on up here.
It should come out easy now. Okay.
Alright, so let's see if we can get this out of our way. Alright, so now we can see what's going on with this. So let me take it around. So with this piece, this looks like the mass airflow sensor, and even from this angle, it being out, I think there's a little tab right at the very top. Just push it in, and it comes out. So right there, and it has that bend on it. So this is for the mass airflow sensor. So now we take out this tube so we can get to.
I mentioned to him to get the tube out. We just yanked it out.
Yes. So to get out the intake, I don't know if this is broken or not, but this is a rubber gasket, and this is what snaps on, kind of like the airbox. So the airbox has these grease tabs, right? So just get those out of the way. And then, yeah, I don't even know how you're supposed to change your spark plugs without taking this out. So now we got to take this cover out. So we just remove this cover. And then, yeah, this is going to be a fun little task, knowing that these wires go on top, but this has got to come out as well. Yeah, so this all just comes up. So, yay. Okay, so the next things we want to do, I believe, is to remove, these are for the O2 sensors. So I don't know if it's right or not, but I put a number 1 there and a number 1 there because they both look exactly the same. So I just went ahead and marked them. I believe these things just simply slide out. Just,
Twist out.
twist out. So those are now out of the way. As you can see here, these ones are loose. There's the 2 of them. So now we're going to go ahead and just disconnect those. Okay, so going back to this, so once these O2 sensors are out of its casing right here, by just lifting them up, there is an area where you're going to have to put, if you can see in here, just if you put a screwdriver down in there and push down, then it becomes loose and it comes off. So they're both out now.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then it's on to, let's move these out of the way. So these can just be moved out of the way. Make sure that they still are intertwined there. And then we need our pry tool. We'll go ahead and lift up right there, that pipe's still connected. So there's a little pry tool there, a plastic piece that is now out. And then I believe this piece right here needs to come out. Uh-oh.
That's all right, we'll get it.
And that's how you break stuff.
It's not broken, it came out. That's supposed to come out.
And there it goes. So you just gotta break a piece and lose it.
It's not
It
broken.
comes off.
I just gotta find it.
Okay, so the next thing we want to do to start taking all these pieces off so we can get more access to the valve cover, as you can see, I already took these off. These are T20s. You can just use I used my electric wrench. So you just I'm just going to screw these right here. So there's a T20. It's off. Do not lose these things. And there's that. And if you're going to change your spark plugs, you're going to get this far anyway. So you can see my other piece of my foam is underneath here.
Need to take this off.
Take that off. I don't know what you're taking off. Oh, yep. So take that piece off. So move that out of the way. And then this should be able to somewhat, I guess you got to take, I don't know if we could take that shroud out over here where those pipes are coming through. This block does come off, so you literally just lift. There's nothing else. It lifts out, and then this piece is going to come out. Put that away. And then it looks like there is a piece here. I think all this, yeah, all this just slides out. So that one went right down through there. It's probably for another model. And it looks like these just all come out individually. So there's one. There's another one here, so I just want to get this out of the way. Okay, that one's through it, and then this one's through it. So now I have access. So you can see now I have access to get to everything by moving out these foam pieces. So, and then also the leftovers from that foam piece that came out, I guess I shouldn't have taken it out then because it was ripped, but that was done by someone else. So here's my other piece of the foam. Now I can get access to, you can see the last, oh my gosh, the last plug back there. So that's gonna be a fun chore to get that one out, but yeah, good times. We'll get to that next. All right, so we've gotten pretty far on this thing. Next we're going to start taking out the coil packs. I did put a number 1 on each of the fronts. This is not actually marking the coil pack, but this is the termination here that goes in the coil pack. So simply what we want to do next, I'm going to lift up on this tab here, and then it kind of just unplugs, and then I'm going to unhook that. And then from here, just lift up these coils. I'm going to replace these. I think these look like these are aftermarket, so these are not the original. So I might be prematurely replacing them, but these things do go back. So I'm going to take that out. The next thing I want to do is this is, I guess, for the injector. I marked those so you can see that these are for the injectors. I put a white line on every first one, since you can mix these up and you don't want to. So simply to get these out, there's a clip in the front of it. You're just going to go ahead and lift it up, and then do the same thing for the one back here. So I don't know if you're going to be able to get that one back there.
If you have problems, you can always just take a tool in here and grab it and just pull it out.
Yeah, I got that coil out. Again, we're going to replace these. And then we can see the other injector line. So this wire right here, we're going to need to take that off. So I'm just going to show you the first set here, and you can figure out the rest yourself.
Just like that.
And just like that. So if we look at these, let's look at one of them. So if we look at one of these, it's just a simple plug. It looks like you're just putting pressure on the top part here. So it does come out. This looks like this one's been tried to be fixed before with some silicone.
Well, what you want to do now is go ahead and take the ground off.
Using the 8mm. You're showing me 3 sets of those. And then, God, you not want those to fall in. So let's grab this. This is the 8mm bolt nut. It does have a little flange here. So now that it's off, I want to go ahead and just put it back, so I know where it goes, because this does not come off with the valve cover. As you can see there, just put it back on there so nicely. Yep. So then we'll just do the rest. All right. So we got all the ignition coils out, we got the fuel injector things out, all the grounds. It's an absolute horrible pain. You're gonna have to end up moving this around. So of course these pieces do come out. This is gonna have to be moved. So the next thing we want to do, I marked these vacuum lines. There's 2 of them. So I put a front one on there. I'm gonna have to just remember that on the new one. Okay, so we just marked these things, these hoses, these vacuum lines, and they just come right out. So I put a 1, and then there's 2 vacuum lines. Let's kind of do some long pliers.
Damn.
And then just wiggle it.
Okay.
Yep. And yeah, so it came off, but the wire just completely fell down. Okay, next I want to do is take off this breather hose. So this has just got 2 clips. So you just squeeze and lift up. So that's just kind of what it looks like there. And then electronics there. So I'm just going to move out of the way. There's a new, so this is going to be pulled off and put onto the new one, but this has got a new gasket underneath it, so I got to take those off. So something I didn't get a cover because I don't think it really needs explaining to do, but basically everything we've done to this point is what we'd have to do to change spark plugs. Removing the spark plugs, just so you know, they are pretty nasty. No matter which ones I look at and how many I do, they're all bad. So the rear 2, cylinder 5 and 6, had a different story to tell, because not only burnt, but you can also see they're rusted out. So do a little bit of research on this. Could be for the fact I hope the beauty plate that goes over the engine cover could just be there's an issue with it to where water gets in or something like that. To remove these spark plugs, you are going to need to have a thin-walled socket. This is one I got off of eBay. This is a 12 point. So you need a 12 point, and this is also magnetic. So when we put them on here, you can see that how well it sticks in there. So this is a 12 point. So yeah. So after removing the spark plugs, there's a few other items I need to do to get this valve cover off. one of the next things I need to do is I need to remove these fuel lines that go to the injectors. So this right here is the fuel rail, and these go over to each individual injectors. I went ahead and labeled, so you'll see that I put a number 1 there. It's hard to tell, a number 2, and so on and so forth, because these do go a specific way. The lines bend a certain way and they go on top. After that, I also need to remove this, so I'm going to take off this little piece here and move it to the new one, and I have a new gasket for that. This is the new valve cover. Hamburg Tech is this is the other brand. It looks similar. I went ahead and just did a quick run through with it, flipped it over, looked at it, but there's gonna be some things that need to be transferred over. So just like that valve I just explained, that's gonna need to go here. Does not come with a new crankcase filler, so the old one's just gonna come on here. And I think I've seen in other videos, this is where my different vacuums plug in here, so hopefully I have some good luck. But do this, what we're gonna have to do, when you get these, the great thing about these kits, all the bolts are included, right? But also it's included are all these gaskets. Knowing my luck, this gasket's just gonna slip off. You can see how easy it just slips off. These internal gaskets here. I picked up some of this Permatech. This is their what they call gasket seal. I got this at AutoZone, so I'm assuming this is the best stuff to do. According to the instructions, it says I got to just put it on until it's tacky, so I just put on the back side of this gasket. It says wait 3 hours. I don't have 3 hours, but I'm going to get as close as possible before I take it off. And I also want to make sure this is really clean. Take a look at this. I also have alcohol, rubbing alcohol, and some paper towels just to kind of keep it clean. So no clue what to expect here. It comes out yellow, so just like a little bit, I guess, here and there. My surfaces to be, oh no. And I'm not using this to make a seal, right? This gasket's going to do its job. It's just wherever I can, I'm going to cheat a little bit. Let's just see if this will work the way I want it to before I get stuck. And I'm just going to continue through the whole process here. Just put a little bit of this tack stuff, put it as I can, put it everywhere, and this way it doesn't slip off like this. See, I haven't even touched this barely, and it just came off and just slipped off. So this is what I want to avoid. Alright, so let's get into this next part here, and that's removing these fuel injector lines. So from what I've seen and heard, you just put like a towel underneath here. I'm using like the worst towel I can find, and I'm going to remove this first one, I guess kind of like that. And then I'm going to take a 14 millimeter. I haven't driven this car or started it for a couple days, so let me just see if I can, oh, there we go. So a little bit of fuel coming out there, so I just want to let it bleed out. Now I'm going to come over on the side with everything else, because I try not to get any fuel in here. Again, loosened it with the 14, my number 2. 14 mil. And then my number 2 on the side with the coils and on the injector side. Very easy to remove these. Now that I'm just going back through and loosening all these. Now before I take them off, I was told, so I'm just going to let them kind of sit here. Take these out. And it's in this grooved here, so you can see this groove, this one line's in the way, so I'm just going to, oops, that one's loose. That one is loose. That one is loose. That one is loose. So I'm going to gently take this out, and it comes out as a set. And I am going to be gentle with this thing. And you can see I'm going to put it back exactly the way it's shown. So this is my side for the rails. This is number 1. Number 2, it's going to go back just like that. Alright, so fuel rails are off. As you can see through here, I took all 6 of them off. I did the trick of putting, so if you see these, I don't know, the glove pieces there. That's not a good idea. I know that's what people say they're doing, how to use tape. I also tried it over here on the injector side. They just kept falling off in the tape. So what I did was, I don't know if this is the right thing to do, I took electrical tape, the very strong, the 88, the 3M stuff, I just put it over here and wrapped it in. So you can see how I did that. It's hopefully come up. I think before I take this apart, the valve cover off, that's the last thing to do. I think I want to get in here and hit this with a vacuum. So I have this thing right here I got from Amazon. It's like a big old vacuum, so I'm zoomed in. So one hand this thing. See. I'm gonna get to it, and the next thing I'll do is start taking off this valve cover. I think there's 24 of them all around. It's 24. One thing I do notice, there are these funky looking, they look like little chess pieces. There's two of them. There's one here and then one here. So the only thing I know to replace these is because, well, it came in my kit, so I have two new ones here. So I'm gonna just replace these. This is using a 13mm wrench. And so there it is. So it's like a self-tapper. So I just took it out. So I'll get to that one later. So these ones do not get reused. Our E10. So you'll see this is an E10. I have a long extension, and of course using my electric driver. Now these shouldn't actually come out because they're held in. It's just like the new one is. Take these ones out in here, here, some right here. These plastic vent hoses I'm worried about. Getting towards the back side here. So take this. Get this. This one's a little tight. These on the backs, not using any extensions. Thank God for this electric ratchet. Sometimes get these on sale. This is the Home Depot version. Of course, for Father's Day, I bought all my family members the Milwaukee versions, and I got the Home Depot version, but it's still same torque and same everything else. So after you remove all the screws, do know that there's probably one hidden under here. So is that this was screwed on over, for some reason it was blocking one of the holes for one of the screws, but this took me probably 4 hours to get this off, and it's only because the back left one is the worst. Also use your new one as a reference. So when you are trying to find this one right here, just keep looking and then put a wrench to or a socket to it, extend it. It's very impossible. Now, hopefully we didn't break anything. Don't want to break any pipes. So now, after the thing is loose, you can just kind of lift it up. Oh man.
Hold on a second. Let me get the...
Got this Valtronic thing we want to be careful of too. This is definitely a two-man job. I don't know how they do it one on those shows they show you. Okay, so the thing of it is it's got to go in here, 15mm socket. I have to remove all the screws. Just do this. Hopefully we can make this work.
Before you even did anything, this way dust doesn't get in there, but it's clean.
Okay, so now that it's out, still hung up.
Come this way because of the AC lines. I don't think we can twist it to where I can get it past the AC line. Hold on a second. Keep holding. Let me see light. Okay, twist it more.
This is not fun. Do not do this. All right, so now that the valve cover's off, it's a good opportunity to go around and clean. With the vacuums, you'll see a lot of dust. Okay, so the new valve cover's on. It was absolutely horrible to get this on. Gosh, these back bolts, the back left one is just absolutely horrible. Again, use your new one as a reference. This is actually the old one. So this is what's crazy. So like this is that back corner that was leaking on the exhaust, or on something that was just leaking. But this is a good looking gasket. I mean, there's very little oil residue in here. There's like no gunking. So I just don't get it. I mean, again, this gasket looks good. Why was it leaking? I just realized if I was a flat rate mechanic, I would either be fired or they would keep me around because I'd be the only mechanic that actually owes the repair shop money every week. So, oh my God, this is horrible slow. Like I've been working on this for God, like 2 days. So this is an undertaking, but anyway, yay. So voila, everything's put back together. I skipped ahead, just do the thing in reverse. I still have to put this back together and do the cabin air filters, but that's okay. So everything else is put back together, I think. New flex hose, new ignition coils, new spark plugs, new valve cover, reusing some of the old stuff. So, God, I hope this works and I clear my code. So we're gonna find out what happens when I try to start the car. So at this point, everything under the hood's been buttoned up, negative battery terminal's been connected, and what you're watching me do is utilize my Blue Driver ODB2 scanner. This thing's pretty fantastic. It does a fabulous job reading BMW enhanced codes. I use this as a baseline prior to do any of the work, so I'm just going back through now and just redoing the codes, see what codes I was able to eliminate. I really didn't like the story that I was being told with this code reader because many of the codes that I thought I would eliminate are still there. So I'm going to go ahead and get a second opinion and switch over to my Launch bidirectional scanner. This thing works much faster. It's also much more expensive. But I wanted to see if it was going to tell me a different story. And diving into the code reader, I noticed that I had a lot more codes than I had prior to even starting. I think this is kind of normal, being the fact that I had the battery disconnected, removed a bunch of parts, and so on and so forth. But it was also telling the same story. So after replacing the valve cover, ignition coils, spark plugs, I was able to eliminate code 2BC0 and code 2BEA, but I still had outstanding the random misfires, which I thought would be fixed with the spark plugs. I also have code 28A0 and P112F. Another thing you're going to get when doing this type of work,
well, you're going to notice there's a 4x4 error message in the instrument cluster, and then the iDrive is going to say some active steering. So this is totally normal when you disconnect the battery for a long period of time. Don't freak out. Just go ahead and take the steering wheel from lock to lock. It's all the way left, all the way right. Or you can just go ahead and start driving it, and it'll take care of this code. So, yay. Yeah, so just went through the frustration, as you can see, after completing my valve cover job and the spark plugs and ignition coils. I hooked up my various scanners, so the blue driver as well as my launch. And I kind of feel defeated, but I should feel accomplished somewhat. By changing the valve cover, I was able to remove 2 codes that were showing. That was the 2BEA and the 2BC0. Those were the mixture link codes. So my understanding that is because of the embedded PCV valves and everything is inside the valve cover. So replacing that took care of those codes, which was awesome. I also had to replace it anyway because, as you saw, I was leaking oil on the passenger side and leaking down into the exhaust catalytic converter and causing smoke. So doing some research here, the codes 28A0 and P112F, it looks like they relate to some kind of vacuum leak. So unfortunately, reading something like the 28A0, people in the forums were saying, oh yeah, I had this code and BMW recommended a new engine. There's camshaft drag, or all these things like that. It's a leak somewhere. It could be boost solenoid, it could be the evap purge valve, it could be amongst other things. So instead of guessing, I think the best thing to do right now is to purchase a smoker. I've never used an automotive smoker before, so I'm currently on Amazon buying what's called an Autoline Pro Automotive. It's a made in America. It looks super cheesy and high at the same time. So I'm going to order that. It's going to be here in a few days, and then I'm going to try smoking the intake and see if there's any leaks, and if not, you can also smoke through the crankshaft, or the crankcase, which is simply used taking off the oil cap and hooking something up to it and see where the smokes come out. So I'm hoping it's something super simple, but we shall see.
I'm going to try smoking for the first time. I purchased this on Amazon. This is the Pro line. I believe this is the reason I went with this one. It had great reviews. It's also made in America. It's a California-based company. So I'm going to try to follow the instructions on how to smoke. So I'm not going to do a step-by-step but on how to fill it up, but you can see it works. But I guess you need a compressor. So I'm going to try this out, and starting with the intake. So you can see here, I took the air box off and just took a glove like you see here and put in there and just cut a hole, and I guess I hook it up there and see where smoke comes out. So stay tuned. I got everything set up. This is the tube that I guess pushes out smoke, or waiting for it to do that. This is the power. So this line right here has an on-off switch, and that just show you here, that just plugs into the, I guess, the charging part for the car. And then over here I have a compressor. Hey, look at this, it's flowing. So I'm going to try this out. I'm going to tape it to this glove and see what starts happening. So just hooked it up right there to my rubber glove. I think it takes a few minutes for it to start working. I smell the smoke. It's probably not a good idea that I have it the way I do might be coming out. Alright, so we've been using the smoker. We checked all the intakes. We checked the intake, we checked the charge tube, no leaks there. Now I have it hooked up to the crankcase to see what's going on here. You can already see some smoke coming from the front. It's not coming from any of my handiwork with the valve cover. It looks like it's coming down here from, I guess, the front main seal. Yeah, so you can see that smoke. So I'm going to assume that's the front main seal.